Hey everybody, this is the One Piece King today, or tonight actually. I think this is probably around the first time that I've ever did a video at night, but anyway though, um, what I basically wanted to do for this video, since I did, the last one discussing about Pirate Warriors 4, my thoughts about, what I saw, like, in videos and the information that we got, like some of it I wasn't too happy for, and I'm just kind of being a bit about, the game now because it's kind of going in a direction that I'm kind of like, really? Like you gave us few cool things, like a new character or two, and and apparently we get to kind of see like a move set for those new characters, but at the same time, it's like, like they're not how we expected. But anyway, though, I kind of want to give out like a little bit of news of what I saw as not really recent. I believe it was about like a few days ago or about a week ago. I saw gameplay of Aokiji, and I'm even surprised of what they did with Aokiji in Pirate Warriors 4. Like, the one thing that probably got to me a little bit was whenever he goes into like the awakening state. I mean, yes, all Logia users basically go into their elements. That's kind of always been a thing, really, because I'm pretty sure, I don't think they did it in the first Pirate Warriors game, but in the second one and then the third one, you've always had the Logia users always go into their elemental states whenever you go into like awakening or something. Um or kind of like a power up mode, but you get it. But anyway though, Aokiji apparently in the in Pirate Warriors 4, whenever he goes into that, he's got like this purple aura glow around him whenever he transformed, into his ice form. And I'm thinking, why couldn't they give him like a bluish, like a dark bluish aura? Because, ice is blue and it would like either light blue or well, actually, I don't think light blue would work unless they had a really light blue to where you can actually see it, or maybe a darker blue because, I mean, even though ice isn't really, yeah, even though ice really isn't like a dark blue, I mean, technically, to be honest, ice is white, but I guess the way how the Pirate Warriors games always depicted it was that ice was always going to be like this light blue color, in order to see Aokiji basically. But in other One Piece games where, you see the ice and everything, he kind of changes, the ice to be like white, like it's like a bluish white. But but anyway though, like the aura color, I guess there could probably be like an explanation with it on why it's purple. Um, However, though his combo set, I'm actually very impressed of what they did. That they didn't, really copy his moveset from the third game. They sort of did, but at the same time they sort of didn't. The only moves they did copy was basically how you keep tapping square and he does the ice saber, attack where he keeps slashing. And he also copies the little, it's like this little ice vortex move that he has, which was also from the third game. But the only real big differences there is though is that Aokiji, like since now that they added like jump moves, I was almost afraid they weren't gonna add, Aokiji to be able to have any jump moves and everything. Like it's making me think that ever since they gave the jump ability for all the, for like all the characters in the game, at least the ones that we see in the game, it made me think that some of them probably won't get the jump feature because, maybe they can't think of like actual air move sets for those characters. But I was wrong, like I was wrong. Apparently Aokiji, they really outdid Aokiji's, jump and everything like that. They outdid it with his jump attack combos, and it made me impressed with, how much he could do. And they also did give him, new combo attacks as well, to where, not only could you do like this, like in the third game, not only could you do like this icy, it's like this icicle rain or something. No, it's like a flat out freaking like an ice rain. Like it's like literal like hailstorms right there. Like they made it to where Aokiji can summon like freaking hailstorms basically. It's not, your little ice picks falling, from the sky. Oh no, it's like legit hailstorms to the, like from the sky to the ground. And that's why I thought that was really cool that they did that for Aokiji. And I was like, that's actually pretty good, you know? I mean, I'm thinking they probably might give him different other moves, that you can unlock later in the game, which would actually be cool because I'm curious to see on what else they could give Aokiji, you know. So I'm pretty content with that though. Sabo, however, I haven't seen anything new with him yet. I'm still probably gonna be feeling that because even though Sabo was like a relatively new playable character in the third game, like they added Sabo in the fourth one. They probably should have done a little bit more with Sabo. Like Sabo's got more of a move set than you possibly could imagine. Like he's got more than what you think. Um, but anyway though, yeah. But anyway though, moving on, to what the actual topic of this video is because I got a little bit of that updated news out of the way. This video is actually going to be the wish list about characters that I still would want, further in like to be in the game, like that we have not got any news about yet. Like not about like Ichiji and the other brothers and like the other Jarma siblings. Like no, we already know those guys are going to be playable in the game. It's just so far we've only seen Ichiji and Reiju, like basically look playable in the game. With Ichiji it was actual gameplay, and with Reiju we already saw, that you can play as her in, I believe it was like the first, no, it wasn't the first trailer, it was the second one with Gamescom, and we actually got to see or actually I don't know if it was, I think it was Gamescom. I believe it was Gamescom, probably. But we did get a trailer basically where it did show Reiju, actually having like this playable moveset, which actually was very cool. Um but with Niji and Yoji, it's already been confirmed already that they're gonna be playable. It's just we haven't really seen what kind of movesets they really have, but I bet their movesets would be like really cool. I bet they are, like I bet they really are cool. Um and Aokiji and Sabo, like those basically were randoms that were thrown in there. Carrot was also a random as well, even though she's new. But again, Carrot was a random, but hey, we got that character thrown in there now. Luffy and Zoro, it's an automatic, like the Straw Hats are gonna be playable. They cannot have it be a One Piece game without having all of the Straw Hats, like, not playable. They cannot do that. It's wrong. I mean, I think they would probably even have it like as an updated roster where like in the third game, basically where you choose the section of the characters that you want to play as. Like the first one obviously would be the Straw Hat Pirates, and you would have all the 10. Yes, I said 10 because technically confirmed, as confirmed by Oda himself, that even put in a Viva card, data book information about Jinbei. His card apparently is in the Straw Hat pack, and he is confirmed to be the 10th Straw Hat. He is confirmed. So it would actually surprise me if Bandai and Koei actually followed through with that information, and threw Jinbei in as a Straw Hat pirate character in their group. Like that would surprise me. Like they have the Straw Hat Pirates selection. You get to choose all of them. Like all the way from Luffy through Brook, but then you just see that one slot right there, and then you realize like that slot is Jinbei, and it's like, boy, it's like Jinbei. Yes, like Jinbei finally made on the Straw Hat roster. That's good. Um I mean, Jinbei, we can already confirm that is going to be playable as well. We already saw him, we already saw Jinbei in the trailer as well. But anyway, though, characters that, for my wish list that we don't even know that are going to be playable, though. Like I'm still gonna be like probably adding in more characters probably, so will probably be like a updated wish list part two, because I did remember I did a wish list video of characters that I wanted playable on the Pirate Warriors 4 way back. One of them I didn't even think was gonna happen, and it was Reiju. I mean, technically, I actually sort of thought Reiju actually was going to get more of a higher chance because of the fact that Reiju is actually, no offense for all the, for all the females out there and everything, but whenever it comes to anime games and everything, like whether it be Bleach or One Piece or Naruto or even My Hero Academia, if you want to go to that route, um, yeah, any of those series and everything, whether it become with the games or the anime series or the movies or something, there's always got to be there's going to be a line of fan service somewhere for for the female characters. There's always got to be a line of fan service for that. There always is. So that's why, I was thinking like, well, if we're talking Reiju here, I mean, Reiju, no doubt, is already going to be an awesome playable character, like from what we just saw. But technically, I see where Bandai and Koei are going with this, with not Smoothie, but Reiju. You can see where that's gonna be going. Like Reiju's gonna be fun to be played, and everything, like as a playable character. But then, whenever the game releases and they release DLCs, you can imagine that they would probably give DLC, costumes and fan service costumes for the female characters, and that would include Reiju as well. So, just throwing that out there, really. Um, hmm. But, yeah. So now let's get onto the list. One of the characters that I still am content with, that I probably did mention in the last wish list before we even got any news of new characters, is still my boy Katakuri. Like, come on. Whenever it came to World Seeker, like I'm probably gonna make a separate video talking about World Seeker, about my thoughts of what we could get as like another DLC after Law. Um, but with World Seeker though, as a actual console game representation, One Piece World Seeker is the only game that actually has, Katakuri being represented, whether whether if it's like for a One Piece game or just like a game that would add all the series together, like Jump Force. Like if Katakuri was represented in Jump Force, which I believe that's what everyone's aiming for. If there's ever gonna be a season 2 DLC, like everyone's gonna be looking at Katakuri like, boy, like we're gonna give you like the Jump Force card, like join please, you know. And it wouldn't surprise anybody really. Like they would be excited, but they wouldn't be surprised. They'd be like, we knew our boy Katakuri was gonna make it. But but as for Pirate Warriors 4 though, I'm just gonna say this just once though, and I feel like everyone's gonna be on the same page. Like for anyone that watches this video, or that basically watches like any news relating to Pirate Warriors 4, and we never get anything of Katakuri, and the game is so close to like releasing, like we actually get like a date of whenever the game releases, and we don't get any info of Katakuri. Fans are gonna lose it. Fans are gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it because, Katakuri, even though he has been represented in one game, I feel like he needs to make a representation, in another One Piece game, because we know a lot about Katakuri now, we know a lot about him. I mean, besides the fact of the Beaver Card data book information, which they can include, as like a little log entry for Katakuri as his little backstory or something, which he does have one. But, like, Katakuri himself, Like, come on. If you don't add that dude in there, I don't know what Bandai and Koei are gonna be thinking, you know? So please, my boy Katakuri, second One Piece game, please, for him, make him be put in the game and actually be like one of the most powerful and broken characters ever. Do not like nerf Katakuri to be like to where he's like standard power and you can easily beat the crap out of him. Like I don't want none of that. Like no. Actually legit show that, Katakuri's power is not to be like messed with. Like Katakuri can actually prove to be like one of the strongest characters to be, to be played in the game. Like that's what I want. So moving on, from the hype of Katakuri, because I'm just saying, he don't make it, that game won't sell. That game won't sell. All right, so he don't make it, no money, no money on that game. So yeah. Um, Next character that I do also want to go and also put on the roster. This character will also be a new one. Um, and that one would actually be Pedro. And obviously, you can see why I would want to go and put Pedro on there because, Pedro is also a mink. He came from Zoe, and he also traveled with the Straw Hats to go to Whole Cake Island to get Sanji back. It would make sense to have Pedro playable as well, to also get in the feels of, what happened. I mean, if, like, all of you that have either read the manga and basically, like, are caught up to date with the manga or watched the anime and the same thing with the anime, you know what happened to Pedro, alright? Like, rip Pedro, alright? The boy fought a good life. He made a sacrifice that he was willing to make. So, rest in peace, Pedro. All right. So I think as good dedication for that character's passing, I think they should probably make Pedro playable as well to pay like dedication to a character that barely even made like any, time, for the series and everything. Like he got good development as a character. But if he was still alive, I think Pedro could have definitely been someone much greater, like someone much greater than what we got him to be. Like, don't get me wrong, Pedro's a good guy. Pedro's a good character. Like, I love Pedro to death. Like, that dude, like, with his electro and his sword and everything, and what his past was like, Pedro, like, the GOAT. Alright? Pedro the GOAT. Pedro will fight until his life will give out. Like that's like GOAT material right there. Like that's Pedro. But if they don't add him in there, I'm gonna have like mixed feelings about that game. As in like I don't know how I should feel about this that they didn't add Pedro in there. As if like the whole Pedro sacrifice meant nothing. You know? Like if Pedro doesn't even get mentioned, in Pirate Warriors 4, whether if they make him as a playable character or just they never even mention him at all, like it's gonna be disgraceful. Like his sacrifice meant nothing, apparently. And it meant something because it helped the Straw Hats get away. And Pedro, like I said, Pedro was a good guy. He did all he could to fight and when his life was gonna give out, it's like, well, what can I do? And then basically just called it dynamite and then bam, explosion right there. So, yeah. So, moving on from Pedro, because another reason is because we have Carrot, who's also a main character that's playable. I think, that Pedro should also be playable as well, especially for Whole Cake Island, because Pedro was also a participant in that arc as well. So now moving on and everything to the next character. Now technically this one was already a character that's already been used in like the old games already, but I mean from the route of where Bandai is going, I don't really know what they're gonna be doing though. Like I don't really know. Um And apparently that character is going to be Buggy. Alright? Now I know a lot of you are going to be thinking, like, why out of all characters did I suggest Buggy? Buggy is obviously going to be playable. That's going to be the thing, though. You see, ever since we got the news by Bandai and Koei, like both, it was stated in, I think it was like in a Jump issue, I believe, not the one that we currently, got in this month, where it wasn't really like any new news really, or I can't remember if it was like a conference at Tokyo Game Show, but it was some type of news that has been translated and everything. Like it was leaked out and it was translated, and basically it was stated that the story in One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 will go all the way, like it will start from the Alabasta saga, like well not really the saga, but the arc itself, all the way, to Wano. Like Alabasta all the way to Wano. And when I heard that, I'm like, that is ridiculous. You know? Like, that is ridiculous. It's kind of like, you're wanting to do the same thing as what the first Pirate Warriors game did. It didn't go directly to Romance Dawn, all the way to where it could go. Like, it didn't do that, It didn't. Because it went all the way, like, it basically went all the way from, like, it went all the way from, like, the Baratier arc, or no, it went from all the way from Orangetown. It went from Orangetown and skipped, Syrup Village, and then went on to Baratier, and then kept going on, but it skipped a lot of arcs along the way. And whenever it did that, basically, all we got to was like, I guess you could say the return to Saba Odi, because basically you did get to play that as like a quote unquote first chapter, basically, for the story of Pirate Warriors 1. But I really don't know because, to me it seemed more like they could have, it seems to me like whenever they made Pirate Warriors 4 now, they could have actually kept to their word and basically said like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you the full story, like we're gonna make it to where things are gonna be a lot different than what they were in like previous games. Like you're gonna get the full scope of the story this time, and we were promised that. We were promised that. We were promised to get the full scope of the entire story from Romance Dawn, the beginning, all the way, apparently to an update of Wano. I don't know if they're gonna keep updating Wano, the more the anime increases with their episodes. If they do, that's cool. Like, I wouldn't, mind that at all. I would be like, okay, it's like you're actually, like, making good timing with this. Thank you. But if not, I'm just gonna be like, It's like, basically, this is like, Pirate Warriors 3 and everything, combined with Pirate Warriors 1 all over again. It's like, come on. Like, don't add those two together and make this do better than what you made, you know? Um, but anyway, though, yeah, but with Buggy, though, like, I know that we're gonna get Buggy, like, represented, for Impel Down, because, like, Impel Down Marineford, like, we're gonna get representation of Buggy, in there already. But technically, from where the start of where we see Buggy, though, we're gonna see Buggy, wearing his prisoner outfit, and that's gonna be like the introduction, basically. Like, the way how I'm imagining it is that basically, say like someone just got so interested at a One Piece game, they didn't even know the story, you know? Like, they didn't even know the story, and they just wanted to go and play Pirate Warriors 4, because it's a new game, and they wanted to go and play it. Imagine them just, like, playing through the whole story and believing, like, wow, this is what the story began with, and, this is how the story ends. It's like, wow, you know? And it's like, no. It's like, no, that is not. It's like, One Piece didn't even end, and two, that's, like, the way how they told that story in Pirate Warriors 4 is wrong. It doesn't start from Alabasta. In fact, Alabasta is where stuff gets a bit more serious, you know? Like, of course, when they get into the Grand Line, like the Straw Hats get into the Grand Line, stuff does get serious. But with Alabasta, though, you cannot tell me stuff didn't get a little bit serious than like what they had to take it with. Because Luffy had to get serious against Crocodile, and the other crew members had to get serious against the other not Cypher Pole the other Baroque Works agents. There you go. But they had to get serious against them, and they did, and they won. It did injure them, it did injure them a few, but they apparently got through to all that and everything, and they basically, won the fight. They won the battle, and so there you go. And later on, they, even got more serious whenever stuff got even more, critical and much more dangerous than they ever feared before. Um, but yeah, though, but I just really hope that they kind of just rethink of what they said, that they're gonna start from Alabasta all the way to Wano. And I hope they just, go with doing it from Romance Dawn all the way to Wano. That would be much better than starting from Alabasta, where some characters that came from, some characters that came from the third game or the other games aren't even going to be represented anymore. Like, you won't even know who those characters even are. Like, they don't even get mentioned in the story. They're just gone, That's why I'm just like, okay, they need to represent the full story, so that way anyone who ever wants to know the full scope of the story, play the fourth game. Or, I mean, don't even play the fourth game. You can play the third game too, even though the third game with Dressrosa has their made up ending. But, play the fourth game, because the fourth game actually might tell the full scope of the story, not leaving anything out. I mean, anything. Like, it will have probably all the arcs in there, probably. Not counting fillers, but basically all the story arcs. Excuse me. But yeah, but it's like a fear that they probably won't have Buggy in there, or maybe they will, but just he probably won't be like his normal self, basically. Like, Buggy will probably be like probably a lot different, But yeah. So I hope Buggy makes it into, because I didn't really like playing as Buggy in the third game. Buggy was kind of more like a hit and run character, as I would label him. But Buggy, Buggy basically also has this moments where he can also be like pretty cool to play. So I hope they probably would add him in the game and probably would do a lot more with Buggy with his chop chop abilities. Like his chop chop fruit skills. Like, they probably would add in more like abilities for him, which would be really cool. So now moving on to the next character, and that next character would also be like it's also an old character, but it was never playable, and that would be Arlong. And the reason why I'm also bringing up another East Blue character is because Arlong has been in all three games, from the first one all the way to the third one. Has he ever been playable? No. Could he have been playable? Yes. And for this time, for him to really shine in the fourth game, for him to make a playable slot, I think Arlong should definitely make, some kind of, playable slot and everything, or, a playable team, in the game. Like, I think Arlong should make it, on that roster, because the way how they did Arlong in the Pirate Warriors games, especially the third one, Arlong had so much potential, that he had all these other attacks, but yet they made it to where Arlong couldn't even be playable. Arlong had all these other attacks that he's shown throughout the Arlong Park arc, and it makes you think, why didn't they make him playable since he's got all these attacks? Like, with his, with the Fishman Karate that he's got, or the Fishman Jujitsu. I think he's got more of the karate and also the jujitsu, but I don't know. But the thing of it is though is that Arlong basically, has like a lot of moves that he could, that he could show off and everything when you play as him. But since they kind of didn't do that really, since they kind of just didn't like think about, oh well, they're right, Arlong should have been playable in the third game. It's like, why not do it in the fourth game right now, like Redemption, you know? I mean, I hope they make it to where Arlong is playable in the fourth one, because if not, that's gonna be a major letdown, because like I just said, Arlong had so much potential, to even be put in there, because the dude's got a lot more moves. And I think they could even make it to where there's like a switch mode, or his awakening, what it could be is like he could pull out his saw sword and, use a saw sword a lot. Like create like a lot of combos with the saw sword and everything. So, I really think that's what they could have done. So, yeah. So now moving on to another character. It's not an East Blue character, so you don't gotta worry. They're not all East Blue characters. Like this one actually is a Grand Line character that moved to the New World. And yep, you guessed it, it is Bellamy. And why did I put Bellamy on my wish list, hoping that he'd be playable? I thought he would be playable in the third game, because Bellamy actually has, also has potential to grow, as like a character in the series, but also meaning in a sense that, if he was a playable character, Bellamy could have had a lot more, because Bellamy also demonstrated a lot of different, moves that he had with his Delve Fruit ability. And especially, and especially in the New World, where Bellamy also, has hockey, like he has the armament and everything, which definitely would have been, like very nice touch, where if you go and play as him, one of his combos could be him, bouncing all over the place and doing like a armament hockey punch, like that could have been a really cool thing that I really think that they could have done, for Bellamy and everything. That would have been really nice. But again, just like Arlong, they missed out, completely, and didn't even think that Bellamy even had a chance, so it's kind of like a scrapped idea that they thought like, well, we could have added Bellamy, but we just didn't think about it. It's like, yeah, sure, okay. Um, but in Part Warriors 4, though, I really hope that they do add him in there. And what I think his awakening could be is, I think what his awakening could be is probably like him being able to move like a lot faster, with the springs and everything, because, with the springs he's able to bounce all over the place. But I think with his awakening, not really like Carrots, to where, with her Electro, with her awakening, she's able to move like a lot faster and, do a lot more, moves faster. I'm just thinking with Bellamy, with the springs, it kind of would already be like he's already jumping all over the place and can do a lot of fast combos, like sort of like Spring Hopper, but, like Bellamy would basically be like all over the place, and I think that'd be a really cool awakening, is that Bellamy could spring all over the place, and all you gotta do is like keep tapping square, and Bellamy would just get like all the enemies like quickly out of the way. So I think that would be nice if they gave Bellamy a chance. I think it would be nice. So please make Bellamy on the roster for Pirate Warriors 4 as well, please. Um, I think this will probably be the final character. Yeah, I think this will be the final character though. This character though, it's more of like an up and down for this character to think that if she's gonna make it or not. And yes, I said she, so if any of y'all are gonna ask me, is it for fan service reasons? That's more of Bandai and Koei's decision, with that character, which they most likely will do that to her. Most likely. But for me though, I honestly don't care, because, this character, um, hasn't really shown anything like combat related, but like we haven't seen this character actually go in a balls out fight before. We've seen her powers, but we haven't seen her go in an all out like fight. And you could probably guess it. It is Pudding. It is Charlotte Pudding. We have seen Pudding in the the second intro, or not intro, but the second preview of the a Pirate Warriors 4, where where we see Sanji and Pudding kind of standing like on top of the chapel, and they're doing their wedding, but then the gun falls and Pudding kind of just goes on her knees and she's crying. And whenever I saw Pudding, I'm just thinking like, well, Pudding's got a player model. That must mean that Pudding could possibly make it as a playable character. There's a possibility. But there's also another possibility that Pudding could also be like this random, not really a support, but like this random summon support, sort of like what HEG can do. Where, I think it's stupid how they did it, but it's like this thing where HEG can go and do a combo attack, but at the same time could summon out Neji and Yonji at the same time, you know. And I think there's probably like either it be Katakuri if Katakuri ever becomes playable, or it's like another it's another character from the Big Mom family that basically has it to where they can summon out Pudding, and Pudding just kind of either does like a slap or she does something that manipulates their memories or something, like kind of like a confusion kind of thing. Or kind of like what Perona does, where it's like she would remove their memories, but it would also kind of like, make them all dizzy and make them like fall on their knees, and then you can hit them as much as you want, like something like that. I kind of really hope they don't do that. I really hope they make Pudding like her, like an actual playable character, because, like I just said, even though we haven't seen Pudding go all out like in a brawl before, we've seen what her powers are. We know what they do. We can see that she uses a gun, so she probably might be more of like, more of like an Usopp, basically, to where she can just go like pew 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 and everything, and not even have to like get close to the enemy, or not too close, but sort of close. Um, and but basically, I can see Bandai and Koei actually probably having a discussion with Oda if, they were actually planning to have Pudding become a playable character, that they would speak with Oda and think like, okay, Oda, like you helped us, with Shanks before, even though Shanks didn't really, like go out in a fight before, but we created a lot of like techniques and moves for Shanks, even though they were never named, but well, I mean, except for specials, they were named. But as in, like, actual combo attacks, they were never named. However, though, Shanks, for the same reason, never got into, like, a brawl before. Like, we never seen Shanks go out in a brawl. And so that way, they basically already gave Shanks a moveset in the third Pirate Warriors game. So that's something. I mean, even in Burning Blood, they even gave him, they even gave him a moveset and everything. So big surprise there, actually. But I can see the same that they do for Pudding, basically, where Pudding hasn't actually gone in a brawl before, but they can give her, they could probably give her name techniques, probably, and and they could probably give her a lot of different combo moves and everything that can deal with a Devil Fruit ability, And I think, with that and everything, that would really be cool for, Pudding as a character, because it would also be a new character, but it would also be relevant for, the Whole Cake Island story, because so far of what we got for the Whole Cake Island story as like representation is Luffy's costume that he wears whenever it's like the I want to say it's like the rematch at Big Mom, basically, where I mean, like, Luffy never really like faced her, for like the first time until he's in his costume that he wore during the Gamescom there. But but basically, like, you know what I mean. Like, basically, they challenged Big Mom. They tried to fight. They tried to fight like all the children and everything, and then they basically got beat up. But then, whenever Luffy escaped, like Nami and Luffy escaped and did all what they did and everything, they bounced back with Capone. But it was like a rematch against her, in which still failed. But you know. But anyway, though. But yeah, but I can definitely see where um but I can definitely see where it's like different costumes for Pudding as well, where to where Pudding would have like her normal outfit that we see her wearing. I don't think for the first time that we see her in the series, I don't think. Um I mean, probably, but I think also whenever she's also wearing the wedding dress, like we see her wearing the wedding dress, and then we can see, like, we would see her wearing like a chef outfit because like her and Sanji need to go and make the cake, basically, you know. Like, I think basically, that we'd be able to get those kind of like costumes that would be related to the story, for Whole Cake, but I don't know. Like, costumes and stuff is probably gonna be like in a different video, because this is just a wish list, but just a tiny little tip though, if we do get new characters and everything, and they did have, like different costumes and everything, or like they looked they look different and everything during the arc of the series, then yeah, they need to definitely like, have whether it be an outfit or a change that they went through, during the series. Like, they need that. Because if they don't get that, then Bandai and Koei, y'all screwed up and everything. Like, y'all need to really redo, y'all need to redo some stuff. All right? Like, mm. But anyway, though, that was my wish list. As like an update, since like I said in the beginning of this video that we got, some characters, we got some news. October's gonna be coming up, so we probably might get some news of maybe a new character, or um maybe something new of like a new stage, maybe to where we get Bakura Town, or we get the flower capital, maybe as like a new area, probably to walk in the Wano map. I'm not sure, but um but basically all I know is that there might be a possibility that we might get new news of new characters, possibly info on costumes, to where the costumes actually might match not just Luffy, but all the characters, because Bandai and Koei would probably look at, how we feel about the costumes and be like, we don't really need to reuse the same thing over and over again. We need to change it this time. We need to make it like, we need to make this a better change than what we did to the past three games. So, I think, like, I hope they go with that and basically do that. I mean, obviously, people would disagree with me and be like, it's never happening, dude. And I'd be like, yeah, I figured it probably won't. But it's just a thought, It's just a thought. Until then, which, which basically, whenever I do get around to doing the next video, whether it be on the new news that we get of Pirate Warriors 4, if we ever get anything related to that, or or if we get like anything like really big and specific for characters, whether it be like costumes, or like we get new ones, or we get like we get a new area, we get a new map, or or maybe they even make it to where not really like World Seeker, but basically make it to where it's a bit explorable, to where you got like this wide, it's a kind of a bit like a wide range map, to where you can actually like run around and you can fight the enemies if you want, but at the same time whenever you're running around, it's like, oh, I can even enjoy this too. Like, I can even enjoy running around, looking at the scenery, and be like, yes, I remember all this. Like I remember all this in the series. So, yeah, I really like hope we get some good news and everything from like in the next month here. Like as like a Jump magazine, like a V Jump magazine. I really hope we do. So this will be the end of the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave a like on the video, and also leave a comment down below of your thoughts as well. Of what kind of characters that you would also want in Pirate Warriors 4. I mean, you could also be on the same agreement as I am, or you could even like have your own like thoughts, maybe disagreements, or maybe even have like your own thoughts of like other characters that I could have mentioned in this video, but probably will do that in the next one. But anyway, though, I hope y'all have a really wonderful day/night, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.